you start hitting this parabolic run and everyone's like, oh my gosh, getting rich and buying Bitcoin. I want to buy Bitcoin. So humans move, we react to pleasure and pain. Pleasure, I want to get rich too. I'll buy. It sells off. Oh, pain, sell. So it's sucking in more people. Pleasure. I want to get rich. Sucking in more people.
So what is your thoughts on people like Tom Lee jumping in saying Ethereum is going to be it? Wall Street has chosen this vehicle. I'm all in on Ethereum. Do you think that it's just Bitcoin only then? Or do you think they play out? Like, what are your personal thoughts on this, and maybe also your kind of objective thoughts on the market that you might see playing out too?
Yeah, I think over what period of time, right? So we have to kind of quantify things. And so obviously he's made billions of dollars doing that. So what does success look like, right? I've been working with a handful of treasury companies. I'm working one with Satsuma right now. We're just getting through the regulatory process in the UK. And there's a lot of questions that we get all the time. Is there going to be only a couple winners? And I'm like, well, what's your definition of winning? Like, we just raised enough money to get over 2,000 Bitcoin. In 5 years from now, we'll be a $2 billion company. Wow. That's kind of winning. Now, that's not going to be MicroStrategy. They got 600,000 plus Bitcoin. No one's ever going to beat them. But like, I don't know, $2 billion company valuation is pretty good to me. So I think it depends on your what winning means. And so like Tom Lee made billions of dollars, like congratulations. But I do think it's kind of weird, so now we've seen, so crypto has always sort of been like this affinity scam off of Bitcoin. It's kind of like Bitcoin, but better. And then we have Bitcoin treasury companies. So now we have DATs, digital asset treasury companies. And so now there's Solana ones and there's Ethereum ones, right? But I think it's kind of weird for a couple of reasons. So like, number one, Bitcoin is a commodity, right? So there's no central issuer. Anywhere in the world can mine it and get it. No matter where you get it or mine it, it's fungible. There's no one that controls anything, right? Whereas all the other tokens are like securities, right? So they're like a private company, right? So like you have Ethereum and all the other ones, they have consensus. So that means that whoever has the most tokens and stakes the most tokens gets the most votes. But who has the most tokens and the most votes? Well, the insiders pre-mine 70% of the tokens, right? So Vitalik Buterin and Joseph Lubin and Consensus, they've changed the monetary supply like I think at least 3 times in the last 4 years. So today they say it's even more scarce and harder than Bitcoin. Yeah, today, but you just changed it. So like how many times can you change it, right? So it seems like, and I'm not saying there's no place for that. Maybe there will be. They're more like securities, right? There was a central issuer. There's a group of people that affect it. There's a vote, just like stocks, have shareholders that vote, and they change things, right? And so I just think it's weird. Like you can build a treasury off of a commodity. So you would see companies building gold reserves or oil reserves or Bitcoin reserves, but to put another company on your books, you don't see them doing, Apple reserves or, something like that. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that we know that I talked about the ledger. So we know that databases and ledgers are important. They've been around for hundreds of years, about 500 years, right? And Apple's one and Amazon's one and Facebook is one. They're just ledgers. And so we know that there's centralized ledgers. So we've seen, what happens when Amazon or YouTube wants to take you down off the ledger, click you off. And so then we understand that those are problems and the solution is to have a decentralized ledger that nobody can control. So we know there's a use case for that as well, right? But I don't know, is there a long-term use case for a decentralized-ish? It's like, we still kind of control it, but it's kind of decentralized. So it's like, it's slow and inefficient because it's a little bit decentralized, but yet it's not really decentralized and secure because we control it. So like, I don't know if there's a need for that. We'll find out. I think it's going to be interesting to see if there's a sustained buy. So Tom Lee crushed it, as I said. Congratulations, hats off to him. But you don't see like the whole market rushing in to sustain that buy. Whereas Bitcoin, there's that sustained bid, right? We've seen twice in the last like month and a half, like $8 billion and $9 billion dumped in the market in a day, and the market just absorb it. So we'll see. It's hard to say. I think over a long enough period of time, as I said earlier, right? I think most of the capabilities that you can do on any other crypto chain can be done on top of Bitcoin. And I think eventually it converges to one algorithm.
I'd love to get, like you said, you've been in the market for a long time. I'd love to get, what is your spidey sense on the government regulation right now? Almost doesn't make any sense on any level. They're putting out numbers. The numbers don't make sense. We're at all-time highs, the stock markets. Everyone is kind of like, this doesn't make any sense. They don't like the way Jerome looks. They keep passing pro-crypto regulation. They're making it easier for crypto companies to come in. I guess, what is your thoughts on, we saw Bo Hines jump into the White House. He comes in as, supposed to be heading out the digital assets and crypto stuff. And then a few months later, he ends up leaving, joins Tether. He starts heading out the USAT, new stablecoin. And it seems to be like a kind of get in there, figure out what's going on, then bring it out to private and sort of thing. And so I'm curious, I guess, guess, on how good you feel or how bad you feel about the current administration? Because now we've got what we want. No Gary Gensler. We've got off to the races. Everyone's building companies and stuff. Is that a good thing? Where is your head at with all this?
Well, I mean, I think certainly it's a good thing, right? So we've seen Bitcoin get to where it's at today in spite of all the political headwinds that it's been up against, right? So Operation Choke Point, Operation Choke Point 2.0. A lot of people, if they haven't been around long enough, don't really understand this. But in 2017, Bitcoin ran from $1,000 to $20,000 by December of 2017. Incredible. But what happens is, back to first principles, markets stop going up when there's no more buyers. Markets stop going down when there's no more sellers, right? So what happens is you start hitting this parabolic run and everyone's like, oh my gosh, getting rich and buying Bitcoin. I want to buy Bitcoin. So humans move, we react to pleasure and pain. Pleasure, I want to get rich too. I'll buy. It sells off. Oh, pain, sell. So it's sucking in more people. Pleasure. I want to get rich. Sucking in more people. And a lot of people don't realize this, but in December of 2017, when we had that epic crash, blow off top, if you will, it was a coordinated takedown. Simultaneously, at the same time, all the banks shut off the ability to send money to crypto exchanges. All the credit card companies shut off the ability to buy crypto off your credit cards. Facebook shut off the ability to even run ads or talk about Bitcoin. Google shut off it. Like Google, Facebook, bank, everything. Gone. And again, right? Markets stop going on, but there's no more buyers. So if nobody can hear about it on Facebook and Google, no one can get money into it from their banks and credit cards, what do you think happens? So a lot of people don't really understand the political headwinds that Bitcoin has been up against over its entire existence. And then we had Operation Choke Point 2.0. Of course, we know, people now are more familiar with like Elizabeth Warren. She literally ran on a campaign of an anti-crypto. That was literally what her campaign was. And Gary Gensler, of course, with all the stuff that he did. And then the Choke Point 2.0 was still blocking people. So for example, I'm a partner in a venture fund, the Bitcoin Opportunity Fund, and we have the name Bitcoin in our name. And when we raise money, investors tried to wire us money, and a lot of banks wouldn't even allow them to wire money to us because it said Bitcoin in the name. And that was just over the last couple of years. So there's been enormous headwinds, and those headwinds have all of a sudden now gone from a headwind holding a beach ball underwater to now supportive and a tailwind blowing Bitcoin forward. And so if we think about this, I mean, just a couple things to kind of add on to this is like, I mean, the entire presidential administration. So Howard Lutnick, who is the Secretary of Commerce for the Trump administration. Previous to Trump winning the election and Lutnick becoming part of the administration, Lutnick is head of Cantor Fitzgerald, which is a old school heavy hitter Wall Street fund. And he announced that they were opening up a $2 billion credit line for Bitcoin liquidity. Then they took major interest in both MicroStrategy and Tether. So his companies that he owns did that. Then he became part of the Trump administration. As part of the Trump administration, he's working on both the Sovereign Wealth Fund and the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. Then you have Trump, who's the president. Was it like a month and a half ago? His company, DJT Media, which he owns more than 50% of, bought like $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Yeah, both of his sons have taken interest, advisor roles, ownership roles in multiple Bitcoin companies. And we're talking about Trump, who made billions in real estate, whose sons would make or control billions in real estate. But now it's all billions in Bitcoin. Now, I would imagine that they probably know a couple things about where the political winds are going to blow Bitcoin in the near future for the rest of the term, I would imagine. I think it's pretty amazing. I think it's important. Obviously, it's not the same everywhere. So we just saw, I think it was just today in the UK, they're saying that everybody has to have a digital ID now. Yeah, at the same time, they're rolling out the EU's rushing out their CBDC at the same time. So the CBDC has to connect to be the digital ID. Yeah, so certainly one part of the world's going one way. The free world, luckily, the United States is going the other. And I think it's super important.